Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the third roundtable. Hello, Jose. How are you?
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening from Modi'in, not Jerusalem.
Modi'in. Wonderful.
It's a good evening. Welcome.
So, Modi'in is the right place for Hanukkah.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the famous battle of the Maccabees were just nearby.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're just talking about one of the famous battles that was held here. And the Maccabees had a very big success. It's called the Emmaus battle.
Yes.
What's the situation in Lisbon?
Well, you received the good news, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm so happy for that.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm so happy that everything is going straightforward to the.
Yes. And now we fighting ahead, like the Maccabees, like the Hashmonaim.
Yeah. What's the you mean for the corona?
No, I mean for getting our act together.
Okay. I see. Good evening, Alaisa from Italy. Good evening. Bonsoir, Charles Canetti from UAG France. Ça va?
Ah, bien.
Très bien, je suis très heureux de te voir. Dommage que je pourrais pas, je t'ai pas vu à Paris, mais la prochaine fois.
Là, je vais bien maintenant.
Excellent, wonderful.
Now you hear them from here.
Ernst, good evening, Ernst. How are you? How is the situation now in Austria?
It's black.
No, Ernst, your microphone is cut out. Unmute yourself. Ernst is one of the board member of the Austrian Friends, and it's interesting. What's the situation now in Austria, because they went to lockdown, I think. Who is also on the board? Good evening, Maria. Is it Maria Modena?
Not yet.
No. Oh, sorry. Good evening. How are you?
Our president, yes.
And I see Annalise and Deborah joining as well. And we are waiting. Good evening, Deborah. Ça va?
Ça va. All good. Sorry, I can't put the camera, but my heart is here and my ears are here.
We know.
Yeah.
Good evening, Carl.
Oh, good evening.
How are you?
Very fine, thank you. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. So, friends, I think if Scarlett already joined, we can start the evening. As you read on my email, the evening will the roundtable we divided for two. First, we are going to hear Carl and about the German friends who have gone in the last 2 years dramatical change. And I was highly surprised to see how organized and efficient the organization is. And I'm sure we are going to hear about from Carl about all things and the activity in the future. The second part, we asked Itzik, who I'm thankful for joining us this evening, to give a short presentation about Yisum and to answer questions, because I know many people are interested in Yisum in few direction, in few aspects. So I invited Itzik to make a short presentation and to make a quick Q&A. And I thank you for that, Itzik. I know the European desk is consuming few your time, but I am sure it will worth in the future. Just before you start, Carl, thank you. Just before you start, I want just to share one slide, because I have in last days I have done a sum up of the activities in Europe in the next few months, so we can see how engaged are the offices. So the Germans friends will do a dinner in the next months and raise hopefully for Tikkun Olam scholarships. The French are doing 2 events, one gala evening in February and following by a crowdfunding campaign, also from computational medicine. The Austrian is doing a dinner for a special project they run for many years of students that are coming from the Hebrew University to study German in Vienna University. And then the Swiss friends in Basel also are doing a concert in Zurich, and that they are going to fundraise for also computational medicine. The Swiss friend in Geneva, the Portuguese hopefully after establishing and stabilizing stabilizing the association, will be able to do with Viviana also an event. And also the Luxembourg and the Swedish are going to doing a mail campaign. And we had the final, the board, I just remind you, June 10 to 15. So we see there is much activity in Europe, and I'm so happy. I hope that everything will go as scheduled, and the 4th or the 5th wave of the corona will not pass our plans for that. So this is just to give you a brief idea of what is going in our European offices. I invite Carl to start his presentation, his talk. Carl, the floor is yours, and thank you for all you have done. Carl.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you very much, and hello to everybody. First of all, I would like to can I share the screen, because I have a little presentation here.
Sure. Just I'm going to give you a co-host so you can share that. 1 minute. Co-host. You should be able to do it now.
Second. So. Right. Sorry, just 1 more second. So. Opening now. And we see it here, just off. Is that one? No. It's not
Okay.
that one here. Yeah, it's not that one here, but for some reasons this is in another. Yeah. Okay. You can see this here.
Sie können einfach unten auf den, ganz unten, wo man groß und klein machen kann, auf dieses erste Symbol klicken, auf das Bildschirmpräsentation. Ja, da, genau.
Okay. Gut. Für alle übernehmen.
Jetzt müsste es eigentlich nochmal.
Jetzt haben wir es. Okay. Jetzt kann man sehen.
Ja, das ist super.
Okay. So, hello, everybody, and good evening. Thank you, Daniel, for your intro. And first of all, thank you for visiting us a week ago. And thank you and your team, your entire team, for the support which we had in the past 2 years. As you mentioned already, you undertook we undertook here in Germany a big change, and I have a little presentation for you here prepared so that we can quickly go through it and you understand the strong history of the German Friendships Association. As mentioned here, the German Association has its roots back to 1926, and it was we found in the archives, thanks to Professor Hanoch Gutfreund, a document stated here in February 1926. And this is a call for donation from all these prominent members at that time, which were asking for support the foundation of the Hebrew University. Here we have some very prominent names, such, first of all, Albert Einstein, and also Professor Max Liebermann, Professor Oppenheimer, and Stefan Zweig, and others. So that is really shows us the roots where we are coming from, where the German Association is coming from, and the strong impact the association had in the foundation of the Hebrew University. So after World War II, the support was taking up again, and we had, beginning in the 50s and in the 60s, a very strong association, the Bundesverband der Freunde der Hebräischen Universität. This ended up with about 2,000 or 2,200 members, which was really very strong, and we had a large number of regional groups, and there were lots of activities going on at that time. And for some reasons, in the beginning of the 90s, there was a big drain towards Tel Aviv University, and a large amount of the members really went to Tel Aviv University Friendships Organization, and the association was almost about, I must sadly say that, to collapse. And from that point, we started again, Dorit Brandwein-Stürmer, which many of you know by person. She was really working a lot and trying very hard to bring back the association to in the field where the association came from. But I mean, at the end, we must say it was never that strong as it was before. Today, we have, I show you some slides here. We have, this is our member structure. We have about about 1/3 of the members based in Berlin, and we have in Munich a large amount, we have in Hamburg a large amount, and we have in Frankfurt a large amount. And we are growing, I must say, from that point of view. Today we have about 150 members here in Germany, and other than in other association here in Europe, most of them has no personal relationship to the Hebrew University. Neither they studied there or had relations in other aspects. So these are mostly newcomers without any relationship which we have in other associations. But nevertheless, we have a strong backup by our members and quite a good engagement. So we have our activities in fundraising primarily, which we are looking at, and we are doing also a lot of activities in preparing cooperations for the university and with the university together. Cooperations with foundations, cooperations with some other universities and scientific organization. This is what we are doing. So we support a number of projects in agriculture, in Daniel mentioned that, in the Tikkun Olam projects, and also in medicine. We also have activities going on in law and social sciences. We have here a slide which shows you some of the cooperations we have. First and foremost, Freie University in Berlin, where Jerusalem has very, very strong connections with. University Bonn, Georg August Universität in Göttingen, Trier, and so on. So there are a strong field of cooperations which gives us good connections and a lot to talk to other people, which help us also in discussing about sponsoring, because people understand that this is not a sponsoring of a university far away in Israel, but there is a strong impact also for the country here through those cooperation projects. So having said that, this gives you a glimpse of an idea of what activities are going on with our foundations. Here we have a number of foundations mentioned, which we are closely working with. Of course, I mean, Landecker Foundation of Reimer family is quite prominent. This is actually an acquisition which was made prepared by our ambassador here in Berlin in cooperation with the university itself. You may have read that in the papers and in the documents. they committed for a donation of a couple of million euros. We have also the prominent Dieter Schwarz Stiftung, which is one of the most wealthiest foundations we have in Germany. Dieter Schwarz Foundation is opening an own university in cooperation with the Hebrew University, and he's sponsoring a couple of chairs which will start from next year and the year to be followed. Just some ideas what we are doing there. Jürgen Manchot Stiftung, who gave us a sponsoring for 3 full scholarships of medicine, and we hope that he is going to continue. So I mean, there are a couple of foundations, and we are currently underway to discuss how we can professionalize the approach of foundations in the future. In the moment, this is more or less an activity which is generated by chance, but we believe, and I think Jerusalem is sharing this idea that if we work more stringent and more stable on a day-to-day basis on these foundations, we can achieve much more. So having said that, I'm going to give you a little intro to some of our scholarships. We have in the moment, I think, 7 or 8 scholarships underway. We hope that we can close this year another 2 more scholarships. Today it was confirmed that the Renate and Robert Schmucker family is committing for 1 more scholarships for a student in agriculture. We have this Dr. Yongabi, who had some activities going on and so on. So we have a number of people, which students we are supporting here. Coming to our activities, I mean, we learned that it is most effective to have these dinners and to tell during the dinner the people what we expect from them. So we are having a sponsored dinner in 2 weeks' time. This year we will have another sponsoring gala dinner in the Frankfurt area, which is not scheduled yet. We have in April a meeting at the Konrad Adenauer Foundation at Lake Como, the old Adenauer Villa in Cadenabia. And yes, we have charity dinners. We have some great sponsors in Hamburg who did charity dinners in the past and are continuing this in the next year as well, and then also in Frankfurt. We had a good experience with our Zoom meetings, Zoom events. So especially when we are able to invite professors who can speak the German language, out of a sudden the meeting room, the chat room at Zoom was full. Maximum one time we counted about 50 people. So that's really exciting to see. But I mean, sponsoring wise, there was not a specific outcome from this Zoom meeting. I mean, I guess you had the same experience. So what are we heading for in the next year? We are looking to increase our membership counts. We are increasing our social activities in terms of dinners, and we are also preparing a journey to the Board of Governors. Beg your pardon, I didn't hear this.
No, it was just a noise from one of the participants. Go ahead.
Okay. So, we are expecting to come with a delegation of 8 people or 10 people to Jerusalem in June, and so we hope that we are able to grow and to provide Jerusalem with also a growing amount of sponsorships. So this is what we are looking at, just quickly going through, and let's start the discussion. Please let me know what you want to know more specifically.
Carl, I want to just to ask a question, although I think I know the answer, but you have gone a dramatic change in your board, and I know you are doing big efforts to recruit new members for the association. And I think that many of the boards today has this question of how we refresh our board, how we bring new people, younger people. And I was wondering what's your insight about that?
Well, I mean, we found it indeed difficult to find really people who are engaged and to work for the association, and also on top of that, doing also financial contributions. This is indeed quite a tough thing. We have now a very active board, I must say. I'm happy about that. And those board members are really handpicked, and they are committed, they are involved, they have a kind of entrepreneurial thinking, and are active. So there are a number of really good efforts. But I mean, it was a long way to come to this. We had been years of behind us where the association was completely passive, and there was no activities going around, and we work now hard to get visibility also in the social content. So doing these dinners are very important, and during the dinners we understand that people like to hear about the university, like to hear about the research topics, and I also must say that we are very strong supported by the ambassador here in Berlin, who attends almost every dinner and shows his engagement, and people like to join if the ambassador comes. But I mean, as said, the renewal of the board was, I think, a very important point, and I'm happy that we went smoothly through to this change of the organizational structure. That wasn't easy at all.
Any question, guys, to Carl? Charles, but unmute yourself.
Hi. Thank you, Charles from France. One question about the scholarships. Are there scholarships from German students to Israel or students from the Hebrew University to Germany? Which way?
Yeah, Charles, thank you very much for this question. In the moment, we are looking for scholarships in Jerusalem together with Brenda. We identify those topics which are really interesting, which is interesting for the audience here. In the moment, we are talking a lot about agriculture and water management. So we are not so strong in identifying students here in Germany and bring them over to Israel. We have sometimes questions or sometimes people who are asking for scholarships, but we refer them to Brenda and leave them in the loop there, and they have to do structure. We have indeed actually one German student, but that was actually she, it's a lady. She also applied in Jerusalem directly, and we were asked then to sponsor it, which we did.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
I have a question to Carl. Carl, thank you for the presentation. I'm curious to know what makes you said in your presentation that some of the friends had no relationship with the university or studied in the university. What makes them join?
Well, it's a personal approach. What we do in our discussion with friends is we argue on a twofold basis. One argumentation is that we say, okay, the Hebrew University is a place of science institution, the #1 institution in Israel, and this is not just a university. It is the place for peace building process in the Middle East. We have about 1/3 of the students which are coming from which having Arabic roots, and 2/3 are Israeli and students from abroad. So this mixture, we are explaining them, is really a stronghold for the peace building process, and that is convincing a large number of people, or a number of people. And the other point is that we highlight the cooperation between the Hebrew University and other German institutions, and that the economy of Germany and the wealth of Germany is to some extent backed up by such cooperations between Hebrew and those institutions here, and that convinces usually also people here to be active in the sponsoring process.
Thank you.
Well, before we move to Itzik, just to mention one more thing, Carl, with your permission, I must say that you also have made a tremendous change in your organization infrastructure by adding Catherine Dost as your office manager. And we in Jerusalem, we experienced that as a double power by having her like the engine of the association, and we get things done, and we have communication on a daily basis. And I think it's very important for other association who at the moment doesn't have the sufficient infrastructure, mainly a man or a woman in the office who is doing the everyday and day-to-day work. It's a major thing to understand that if you don't have this man or woman to do that, either volunteer or paid, it's very, very hard to get things done and to advance and to make events and whatever you want to do. And also we appreciate the president, but most of the president, all of them actually, are working people and they have their own agendas, and this is on top of whatever they do. And I think that when I saw that with you in Germany and the work of Katrina, I really understand how important it is to have an efficient and a committed women like Katrina doing the everyday work and be your urging for everything. So thank you, Katrina.
It's a pleasure.
So thank you very much, Carl, and for this presentation. And I invite everyone who have further question to Carl about how to change board and how to recruit members, just to contact him directly. And I'm sure he'll be very helpful about that. Now going to Itzik, the CEO of Yusum. You know, everyone is now Yusum, and Itzik, the floor is yours to give a short presentation and answer for the question of the audience. Thank you, Itzik.
Okay. So 1 second. Okay, I assume everyone sees the presentation. Okay. So first of all, thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Carl, for inviting me to. Okay. So Yusum is the technology transfer company of the Hebrew University. So we are the commercial arm of the university. And our job is actually to present and to try to commercialize all the beautiful technologies that come out of the university. Yusum is one of the oldest TTOs ever funded. It was funded in 1964, and it was the third tech transfer company established in the world. And the uniqueness is that we own all the intellectual property of the university. Yusum is a for-profit organization compared to the university, which is a non-profit organization. And as I said before, our mission is to commercialize all the technologies that come out of the university. So actually, the way we see it is that we serve kind of a bridge between academia and industry. And it's a bridge that goes both sides, meaning that when industry have kind of problems that they would like researchers in the university to solve, so they approach us and say, we have this and that problem. And in the academia, which is more obvious, new inventions are being invented, new technologies are being developed, and our job is to commercialize them outside. So we work with everyone you can think of in that arena, with venture capitals, with other academic institutions, with government support. We're the most active university in Israel that works with the Israel Innovation Authority. I hope you heard about them. Of course, we work with industry and we work with entrepreneurs, especially when we establish new startup companies. So actually, we create value, first of all, to the Hebrew University, because when we present their technologies, when we commercialize their technologies, so we show that this is the best university, at least from my point of view, and at least in Israel, leading internationally, coming with new ideas that later on become products, become drugs, become materials, become new food supplements that can be presented to the world. Of course, we create value to the researchers by presenting their technologies outside of the academic institution, create value to the community by having these new products, these new ideas, these new tools coming out of the university. And of course, we create value to the industry investors. The areas of expertise of the Hebrew University, this is something I assume you all know, varies between agriculture, food, chemistry, computer science, clean tech, sustainability, life science, nanotech, veterinary, almost anything you can think of. And Yusum is the single company that is responsible to commercialize all the fields that come out of the Hebrew University, that come out of the 6 campuses of the Hebrew University. I'll say a few words about ISUM. ISUM has a unique structure compared to other TTOs. TTO stands for Technology Transfer Office or Technology Transfer Company. We have a team within ISUM that we call the SITE, Scouting, Ideation, and Technology Evaluation. This team looks into the laboratory of the researchers. This team is responsible to evaluate each one of the projects that come out of the university. We have more than 1,000 researchers in the university. Okay, so this team is responsible to look into each researcher's lab, see their projects, and evaluate the readiness for commercialization of each one of these projects. When a project is ready for commercialization, it moves to the other team, which is the business development team, and they are responsible for doing the commercial agreements with industry. After an agreement is signed, it goes to the third team, that is the alliance management, and the alliance management is responsible for managing the agreement after it's signed, because license agreements are sometimes complicated. There are a lot of type of payments that need to be done, issues related to patents, legal issues, finance issues. So we have a special team that works with the companies after the agreements are signed. And we have all the supporting of data management, IP, intellectual property, legal, finance, and the marketing and administration. The type of agreements that we sign, the most common one is the research and license agreement or research and option agreement, in which we give license for use of technologies that come out of the university. We don't sell patents. We rarely assign patents to companies, but we give license for use. And for this license, companies pays us license fees, royalties if there is a product, etc., etc. We also sign sponsored research agreements. As I was saying in the beginning, when a company has a problem that it identifies that a researcher in the university can try and resolve that problem by conducting research, so they sponsor research in the researcher's laboratory, and then they have the option to take license and to own all the data that comes out of that sponsored research. We do quite a lot of call for proposals, again, with problems that industry faces, and that we presented to our researchers in the university, and researchers that come with ideas on how to solve these problems, we present it back to the companies, and the companies decide if they want to fund that specific research or not. As I was saying earlier, we leverage a lot of government research funds. We work with the Israel Innovation Authority on various plans that fund projects and research in the academic institutions. Of course, we start new spin-off companies that are based on technologies that come out of the university. I'll show a few of them in a few minutes. And we sign usually with big partners, what we call master collaborations, which are general agreements that define all the commercial terms in case that a big company takes license on a specific technology. Since the establishment of ISUM, which is 57 years ago, more than 11,000 patents went through ISUM. We signed more than 1,000 license agreements. We created more than 200 spin-off companies, and all this relates to more than 3,000 inventions that came out of the Hebrew University. So we are quite busy at ISUM. This morning, I was trying to check, and this is a new slide that I prepared especially for this occasion, our activities during 2021. So what I'm showing you here are numbers that relate from January to October 2021. So since the beginning of this year, which was a very challenging year because of the corona, like 2020, in which was, by the way, for ISUM, the best year ever from the point of view of number of agreements and number of companies that were established. So in this year, we already signed more than 70 license and option agreements. We signed about 100 sponsored research agreements. We filed 77 new patents just in the beginning of this year, and we established 10 new spin-off companies. The distribution with regard to fields of this agreement in the last 3 years is more or less what you see here. It's more or less equal between School of Medicine, the Faculty of Agriculture, and the Faculty of Science. In the last 3 years, we have a lot of activities in the Faculty of Agriculture from the point of view of food alternatives, like cultured milk and cultured meat and the alternative proteins. And all that field is very, very hot. It's very relatively easy to raise money for that kind of projects and technologies. So we're very active in the food and agtech in the agriculture faculty in Rehovot. These are the 10 companies that were established during this year, again, in various fields, 3D printing, related to drugs, related to immunogenicity, related to RNA drugs. And by the way, we are about to establish 2 or 3 more companies until the end of this year. Some of our spin-outs are mentioned here. Some of the companies are traded in the NASDAQ, such as Colplant, such as Mobileye that you probably know. Solgel is traded in the NASDAQ as well. Some of the companies are traded in Tel Aviv. Some of the companies are private companies. I don't know if you heard about Future Meat that produces cultured meat, company that was developed using technology of Professor Kobi Nachmias. They're about to get into the next fundraising for few hundreds of millions of dollars in the near future. Savorit, Professor Oded Shosayov, that developed 3D printing of meat substances. So again, they went public in Tel Aviv about a year ago, doing very well. So most of our companies are doing well. Some of them are doing very good. Orcam, which is they talk about becoming public already for 2 years. I hope they will become public hopefully in the next year. I talked earlier about master collaboration agreements. So we have agreements with many big companies. This year in 2021, we signed 2 agreements with Google. We signed 1 agreement with Amazon. We have a master collaboration agreement with Procter & Gamble. We work with Syngenta on the cherry tomato seeds. We work with Strauss in Israel. They have an incubator called the Kitchen, in which we established already 3 companies in their incubator. So we work with big companies as well as with small companies. I assume you know universities blockbusters, so I will not get into that. There are a few examples of some of the companies that I mentioned during the talk. This is in the food tech area. Some of the relatively new companies, as I said, Savorit became public. Kinoko develops proteins out of a mushroom. Chickpea develops proteins from chickpea. Future Meat, you already heard. Better Juice just finished their fundraising. They raised, I think, $8 million in this last round. In agri-tech, again, we have a few companies. Some of them are doing very good. Some of them are in the stage of raising new funds. Healthcare, again, you might know maybe Newstem, Colplant, Oded Shosayov. Nectin just finished a fundraising of $15 million. So this is about the companies. We have 2 internal VCs in ISUM. The first one is called Integra, that was established in 2012. And Integra invests in feasibility studies and start new startup companies in the healthcare field. A relatively new VC kind of VC that we have established is called the Rakach Nano Fund. By the way, Integra already raised $40 million since it was funded, and now they're in their next fundraising. The Rakach Nano Fund, which is relatively new, raised up until now $6 million, and now they're about to close another $2 million. And they've started 2 new companies in the last 3 months, one of them with a researcher called Lioz Etgar, and the second one with Professor Avi Dom, that was the head of the School of Pharmacy. We are very active, especially in the last 2 years over the social media, and I welcome all of you to follow and join and look into ISUM's website and follow us on LinkedIn, because there is where we put all our technologies, all the news, all the companies that are looking for funds, all the companies that raise funds. So we see it as a major bridge to connect between everyone that wants to know about ISUM and its activities. That's the right place to look in. So I'll finish here, and I'm open for questions if you have any.
Thank you very much, Itzik, for this exciting presentation. Any question, guys, for ISUM, for Itzik? Just raise your hand.
Because they're either very clear or everyone knows, or maybe it's very boring, I don't know.
Actually, I just have a question of understanding. What's the difference between license and patents?
Between what?
License, you spoke about license you gave,
Yes.
and patents.
Okay, so every technology that comes out of the Hebrew University, okay, when a researcher wants to publish something, first of all, he comes to ISUM and sits with the patent attorneys. If it's a technology that can be patented, if it's a new invention, okay, so we submit what we call a provisional patent, okay, and then we have a patent.
Okay.
We ISUM are the owners of that patent, okay? Now, when we want to commercialize that patent, we give a license for use of that technology, of that patent, to the partner that we license the technology for, okay? So what we do is we license patents.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's clear now. Okay, and what you are looking for? I mean, you have a lot of funding right now, right? I mean, you get lots of funding from all over the world, I think, from venture capital or whatever. So as a circle of friends, is it just to use for communication, or are you looking for funding for special projects?
Okay, so maybe I will say 2 words about an initiative that started by the American Friends. I will share maybe only one slide just to put it in context. Here. Okay. So actually, we're not looking for anything at this stage, okay? Our job is to license out technologies, okay? And that's what we do. By licensing out technologies, we receive money either for research or license money or royalties, and that money goes back to the university, okay? One of the ideas that came from the American Friends of the Hebrew University, in order to try and connect with the Friends of the University and the commercialization arm of the Hebrew University, which is ISUM, was what we called a Rimon Philanthropic Investment Initiative. And what that means, and it didn't start yet because we're still discussing about it. We're still trying to develop it as a good tool, and we're still trying to make the interest of the friends all over the world about this idea. And the idea is the following. Some of the friends, according to the university, according to Daniel, according to Yossi Gal, according to Ram Semo, would like to see that their donations to the university eventually are being invested in some of the technologies that want to do good to the world, okay? And what we're trying to do is to connect between a donation and an investment in a company. Now, these basically are two things that cannot be connected, because a donation is a donation and it has its own rules, and an investment in a company has its own rules. So what we thought about doing is to try and raise money through the friends of the Hebrew University, to let them donate a certain amount of money. This money will be pooled, okay, in one pool, not to donate every single payment to ISUM, but to donate the money to the university. This fund will be entered into a specific pool. That pool, that in the beginning we have agreed that that pool should be, first we said $1 million, then we said $500,000. That pool, when it's fully paid, will be transferred by the university to ISUM. ISUM, when establishing new companies, and as I showed you this year, we started 10 new companies. Last year, by the way, we started 17 new companies. ISUM will invest that money in 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever number of companies that we decide that is the best place to invest that money. For that investment, ISUM will get equity in that company, because when you invest money, you get equity, okay? And if in the future, that equity is translated into money that comes back to ISUM, so that money will be reinvested in new projects. So it's kind of forming an evergreen fund, okay, using philanthropic investment from the friends. So that's one of the things we thought about. Daniel, or I don't remember who, asked me to talk about a little bit. So this is the idea.
Yes, sounds good. I mean, Carl, I think for like our audience, it's an interesting thing, right?
Carl, you're on mute.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are plenty of links. I guess it's that you have to deal on almost a day-to-day basis with a number of companies who are looking for corporations, who are looking for processes which can be licensed, or is that an active involvement where you like also to look for corporations with the associations?
So okay, so the answer is of course yes. I mean, we have a team of business development people within ISUM, and that's their job. I mean, to find the matching between the technology and the company or the entrepreneur or the investor that wants to take it. So that's what we do on daily basis, and we always look to expand for new companies that are interested. And by the way, we have quite a lot of discussions with German companies. We collaborated for many years with Fraunhofer Institute, and we had research collaborations with them that some of them gained to be patents that we're looking for establishing companies based on that patent. The first initiative, by the way, with Fraunhofer Institute in Stuttgart, I started it in 2013. I'm already 12 years in ISUM, and I became the CEO of ISUM actually exactly 2 years ago. Next week it will be 2 years ago. But when I was a VP in ISUM, so I started the initiative between the School of Pharmacy of the Hebrew University and Fraunhofer Institute in Stuttgart, and it was quite a successful collaboration. So the answer is yes. And by the way, with the American friends, we already have some that connected us to investors that invested already as private investors in companies and got equity in that companies. And yes, we're actively looking for potential investors, companies, etc. And of course in Europe. In the last 2 years, unfortunately, since I started my role, we weren't able to fly anywhere. But now that hopefully we can start traveling abroad, so my plan at least is to try and meet the friends either in Europe or in the States and try to move this forward and try to find collaborations outside of Israel. Because, by the way, about 70% of our agreements, and we sign about 400 agreements per year, 70% of our agreements are in Israel, and only 30% of our agreements are outside of Israel. And of course, that I'm looking to collaborate much more abroad. One of my plans, by the way, I have a board meeting in a few weeks, is to bring a new person to ISUM next year that will act as a scouting person for outside of Israel to try and identify new candidates for collaboration.
Well, I mean, if you see an opportunity to present your activities of ISUM here in Berlin and specifically focused on new technologies, on software, on high-tech or cyber security, I think we will be happy to organize an event, because here in Berlin we have one of the largest communities of startups, and we have in Berlin an inflow this year of about 4.5 billion euros on financing activities from all over the world into startups here. So there is certainly an audience which are interested to hear about your activities and could join that.
Okay, so first of all, I'd love to. Well, what about other fields such as agriculture, food tech, digital health, things like that?
Yeah, digital health, definitely. Agriculture is a thing which I personally love a lot, but I'm not sure. I mean, we need to do some research on that.
Okay.
And Katrin, I think we
Yes.
need.
Health is a big topic, especially here in Berlin, because we host here the Berlin Health Center. I mean, you already do some cooperation with the BIH in neurology, I think. But health is a topic, and agriculture. I'm not.
Food tech, no.
More, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
there is one activity in food technology underway from a friend of ours who is joining actually the charity dinner next week. Also, he's working on a food tech lab in Teltow, and if you could provide me with some informations on that, then we can, because we are seeing him the week after next anyway for a dinner here.
Okay.
And
okay, so we have a lot of activity in food tech and agtech, but the easiest way would be that if you could connect him with us, I could make the connection with our business development person that sits in the Faculty of Agriculture, and he could present available technologies and things like that that might be of interest, as we usually do. Because I can send a presentation, but it will not cover. If you go into our website, for example, which is, I showed it, isum.co.il, it's a live website. I mean, the technologies that are being updated all the time. You will probably see that we have more than 270 available technologies, okay, for licensing. So it's a little bit difficult to show it unless someone says something specific that he would like to see, and then we can prepare everything to show him.
I already visited the website, and I think Kai will make a little presentation for them, and then they have to get in touch anyway. So
exactly.
Just to show what is possible, and then we can go into detailed plannings.
Right. Daniel?
Wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Itzik. You just made your first step here through Berlin, and I hope that Carl and his team will get you some good connection, because I really see many of our donors, we know that they are also on the other side, they're investors. So they're looking also for investing in companies. We have heard already that they are the will to give and also to invest. So I'm saying to the friends that we usually see our people, our donor, as donors netto, 100%, but we have to see them also as a potential investor. And here in the Hebrew University, we have Isum, which is also another door to connect, to cooperate, to invest, and in the end, it's not because it's not a donation, it's not good. It's good anyway if you invest in Isum. So it's a win-win situation for everyone. And we're more than happy to cooperate and to get visitors here who are coming to see Isum. We have many of them. I think last month we have one visit with Itzik and visitors who came to learn about Isum. So this is another option that you have to be aware about for your donors, or even for not donors, friends that are going to Israel and you know that are potential investors. You can always send it to this wonderful website of Itzik. I know Itzik also go to my website, because they are updated on a daily basis. So the presentation are less updated than the website. So the best presentation is the website, and then you get a glimpse of what is going on, and then you can focus more. And Itzik has a big and a wonderful team who is doing an amazing job about connecting potential donors, investors, with the companies. So this is a very efficient machine that Itzik has with his people. I think that we have as friends a little bit to see another perspective, that we have also this door of investment to the Hebrew University that is open, and there are many exciting things that is going on there. And Carl, when you are going to come next time to Israel, either to the board or to another visit, and if you bring with you people, so we can do a stop in Yisum and spend them 2 hours and make a visit, and they have a wonderful coffee, by the way. and make a visit and get an overview of what is going on, and then the things start to spread from the earth, and we see things growing from that point. There is no, I'm saying it, Itzik, from your side, there is no, I didn't see any effectiveness for sending people directly to Itzik, because Itzik, by
the way, we it's okay. I mean, everyone that wants to hear more, I mean, we get a lot of requests. We do it happily. By the way, we're based in the Edmond Safra campus of the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, where it used to be the dormitories of the students back in the 1980s, when I was a student at the Hebrew University. So our dormitories were there, and today it's our offices. So it's kind of a circle, you know, that I'm ending. So it's nice. My background, by the way, is in drug delivery. I have a PhD from the Weizmann Institute in biochemistry, and my second degree is in medicine. My first degree is in chemistry. I'm the author of few patents in the field of insulin. I started few startup companies, took some of them public, and I joined Isum, as I said earlier, 12 years ago. And I'm very happy. I mean, I think it's the best place to work with, because every day you come, you see new technologies, new researchers, new inventions, you start companies. So I enjoy every moment. So
I think it's like you can put the Berlin as your first station in Europe when your first trip.
I'm going to be in March. I see Jose here. I'm going to be in Lisbon, by the way, in March, but for holidays. I've never been there, so.
Okay, from there it's only a 3 hours flight to Berlin. So
yeah, no problem. I have no problem coming to Berlin as well.
When in Portugal, please contact me.
Okay, I will.
We will send you all the contact information, no problem.
Great. Okay.
Actually, Daniel, I have a little bit of history. Can I buzz in, or?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if people are not in a hurry to dinner, no, we have a few more minutes.
Carl mentioned Albert Einstein in 1927, who did funding locally in Berlin, in Germany. Well, in 1927, he also did fundraising in Portugal. He corresponded with a Portuguese family. And so the Portuguese family offered at the time in 1927, 2,500 pounds sterling for the Hebrew University, and Einstein thought it was not enough, and he asked for 5,000 pounds sterling, and so the Portuguese family agreed, but on condition that it would be used for research on citrus fruits mainly. And so this amount was in fact used to fund the Rehovot experimental agricultural school at the time. I'm talking 1927, which is interesting because, well, it joins a bit what Carl said about Albert Einstein, and Itzik mentioned the Rehovot Agricultural School. And so I have the documents which were given to the correspondence between Einstein and the Portuguese family. I have the letters from Professor Hanok Goodfriend on a visit I made a few years ago with in Jerusalem at the Hebrew University. So it's just a bit of history of how Einstein was really a good fundraiser, and he was well. He also fundraised in Portugal, and so it's just a little bit of history. Thank you.
Jose, was it your family?
Well, yes, it was.
I remembered that.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys, everyone. Thank you, Itzik, for this wonderful presentation, and I'm sure we are going to continue this relation with you and the friends, and you are welcome to make direct connection. I mean, the friends with Itzik and vice versa. So I remind you, there is a webinar on the 29th, I think next week, with candle lighting with Yossi Gal, and then after you have the board meeting, the German friends and the dinner. So we have an exciting month and the period coming up from us. And I wish you all Chanukah Sameach. Thank you for joining, and see you on the next time.
I just want to say something about Yossi Gal and the webinar.
Yeah.
Because you said it. So it's going to be with Professor Lior Edgar that we started a company with him called Solra 1 month ago, about a new invention of him about solar systems. And it's extremely interesting. And that's one of the companies now that is looking to fundraise money. So if you find it interesting after you hear Yossi and Professor Lior Edgar, contact us, because we're now raising funds for that company of Lior Edgar.
And Itzik, I would add that in the next webinars that we will organize, there will be other that have their startup from ISUM. So we will light a bit on ISUM.
So we are working for you, Itzik.
That's the idea. I don't like to work. I like others work for me. Yeah.
I have a silly question. Does somebody has a better word than computational medicine, which I think is very difficult to understand by my donors?
So today the new word is health tech.
Health tech.
Yes, that's how we call it.
I think it's already better. Someone has another word than because I don't like medicine being done by computers. So
so today they call it health tech.
Health tech.
The American called him personalized medicine.
What?
So personalized medicine.
Yeah, that's a bit different. Yeah, but
it's like a not synonym word, but they use it sometimes personalized, sometimes computational. It started with personalized medicine, and then they changed the term, I don't know why, to computational medicine. But health tech can go as well, Charles, for your fundraising gala.
I need to find words attractive.
Yeah, sure.
That's important.
I like this idea of health tech, agri tech, food tech.
Exactly.
It's really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes,
We will-
I think I will take health tech because it's
Great.
health tech is done by human.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if you want, we can sign a license agreement for that because it will cost you some money.
Okay, okay. I will pay with good food in Paris when you come.
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Isik. Thank you,
Thank
Carl,
you.
for the presentation, and happy Hanukkah. Merry
Happy
Christmas,
Hanukkah.
and
Hanukkah.
see you next time.
Hanukkah
Bye-bye.
Sameach to
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.